Incoming right there.
All right, hey guys, how's everybody doing? Let me get Steve Holland in here. We got guys. Welcome to our Tactical Tuesday live stream here with Tactical Rifleman. I think this is episode 49. Is that what we decided this was? Here in a while. Here on TR Live. You guys, if you want to see our first 100 live streams, you can go back and catch them at tacticalrifleman.com. But we're like, let's not dilute the other channel. So we started this second YouTube channel called TR Live. Not everybody knows you guys are hanging out here today. Isn't that crazy? So share it. If you like these live streams, share them with people. Because I get told all the time, I loved it when you guys did live streams. I'm like, we still do live streams every Tuesday. We just don't do them on Tactical Rifleman. So that's right. No big deal. If they want to come hang out with us, cool. If they don't, it really doesn't matter because I've got my asylum here with me and that's who I'm interested in. We also got a cool sponsor right here, Bucked Up. Bucked Up. So I started checking out their stuff, and they do like this is some pre-workout stuff right there. Here's the one I like right here. Woke as F, right? I'm not like he's got the F-bomb counter running already, but the pre-workout stuff, right? Pump you up and everything. Okay, I actually prefer certain flavors better than others, but here's a cool thing, right? You can go to buckedup.com, and they've got these shots. And all day energy, help you conquer your goals, all that stuff. But here's the cool part is you go out to them today, and today, like today, you can do it in the middle of live stream. Just open a separate window so you can still listen to me and Steve. Even though he's not listening, you guys can listen. All right. And these are the shots I'm talking about. These are the ones I like, the Blue Raz. You can get a 6-pack of these things for free. You got to pay shipping and handling, but literally today, you want to check them out. They send you a variety pack, and it's good stuff. I'm here to tell you though, the pre-workout stuff. If you're not going to work out, don't treat this stuff as a cup of coffee, because it's not. It's totally not. I was dragging. My knee was hurting too bad to go upstairs to have some coffee. So I was like, well, I got my empty coffee cup here. I'll put a scoop in and I'll add some water to it. I mean, I was like, whoo, I could feel my heart. Don't get me wrong, it's full workout. So my heart, I was at my target heart rate for a couple of hours. I really was. I mean, like full blown palpitations here. I was at my target heart rate. So anyways, the shit's not just hype. You want to get pumped up and everything. You got to go check out Bucked Up. They've got a bunch of great pre-workout. They've got recovery products, everything. And then again, don't forget their shots, because their shots are cool. Anyways, that's good stuff. I appreciate them sponsoring the live stream. They sponsored all last month, and they're like, hey, we like Tactical Rifleman. We're going to sponsor your live streams for the whole month of August also. That's cool. So help me support our sponsors. And, Steve, he's just talking to everybody on the internet. You guys haven't figured this out about Steve, but Steve shares these live streams with like all of his old SF buddies. And half the industry at SHOT Show, he's got them all watching these live streams. It's his way of reaching out to me. He doesn't realize that you can pick up your phone and do FaceTime. Steve hasn't figured that part out yet. But people want to watch Steve, they can come hang out with Steve. All right, guys, real quick, good news. We got Super Chat turned back on. So if you want to make a small donation to the preservation of Carl Erickson Foundation, you're allowed to do that. You don't have to, though. If you have legitimate questions for the board of directors here, me and Steve, if you got questions for us, if you want to do Super Chat, my wife would appreciate it. You don't have to. Just put a good question in the chat. If it's something that doesn't get asked every week, something legitimate, then one of my moderators will send it to Susan, and Susan will actually send it right here to my phone. All right. Does that Yeah. All right. So I've got a bunch of people. Of course, I got two texts from Steve telling me that me and Steve are on a live stream right now. Steve, I appreciate you letting me know. It's all good. I'm poking Steve with a stick, guys. I've had a good week. You remember last Tuesday, me and Steve were hanging out in the man room. It was my birthday. My wife even brought me birthday cake at the end of the live stream. I thought that was awesome. It was good hanging out. I kept getting all these text messages, happy birthday, Carl, happy birthday, all that stuff. My knee recovery, for those of you that have been under a rock for a while, or you live out by the lake or whatever, I had a full knee replacement surgery a month ago, and recovery goes well. I am on schedule according to the surgeon, but it's not going as fast as I wanted it to. Not even close. You understand? I so want to go. I just got done icing my knee right before we went live, and you're supposed to ice heat, right? I'm ready to go jump in put some hot packs on it right now, and then ice it again, back and forth. But we're gonna hang out. How about you, Steve? How you doing?
I'm doing well, Carl. I am doing well.
You want to say hi to the?
Say hello to everyone.
You got 108 freaking nutbags watching you right now.
It's going to be 508 in about 15, 20 minutes.
I hope so.
Once I finish.
And the funny part is, right, because we're normal, right? You guys are like, yeah, we're normal. No, don't get me wrong. Some of y'all know you're not normal. But we were actually doing a live stream. This was about a year ago. And I think I had Steve and Emery, or maybe it was Randy and Emery. Anyways, I had a couple other guys, and I decided to step out for a minute for whatever reason. And I went upstairs, and my daughter had left a couple hours earlier to go back to her dorm, but she had left the TV on some weird channel. I don't know what it was. But as I walked in, it's a bunch of rappers, like music rappers, right? And you guys know I could care less your race, color, creed, religion, whatever. And there are some nice rap songs out there. Everybody's like, yeah, there's some nice, and okay, there are, but understand, rap is to music like Etch-a-Sketch is to art. There's some great Etch-a-Sketch pictures, but you understand, Mona Lisa, they are not, So anyways, I walk, and there's this new rapper, and he's got these other two experienced rappers, producers there. They're interviewing this young guy, and I'm like, it's just like Emery. I want to say it was Emery and Randy Worst down here on the live stream. I only stepped out for a minute, and I'm listening to this guy, and he's talking about, growing up, all the music that he listened to and who were his heroes and everything. And I'm immediately walked away and started coming back down the stairs. But it dawned on me, this is a nice kid. He's making a living with his rapping. He's making a lot more money than I'm doing, and which is an insanely low bar to start with. But it dawned on me, Steve, he's got a freaking TV show, and you and me are sitting in my basement right now.
Well,
you guys understand these pictures? I had to take the glass out of the pictures so that we wouldn't have a glare. That's how ghetto. That's how ghetto our studio is. It is what it is, Steve.
It is what it is, brother.
It is what it is. So,
but we have loyal TR Nation followers.
He's pumping you guys up
we
hard.
Follow them. They follow us. Because I do indeed keep up with everyone in the TR Nation that I'm connected with. If you guys share your contact info with me, I share, updates with you.
Coffee right
some this and that every once in a while, once or twice a week. I share, notes of joy and gladness and righteousness in God's name. And we stay in contact, and when the TV station comes, in God's time, it will come.
I'm pretty sure God Almighty is like, the world's just not quite ready for the Stephen Carl show. You understand, reality TV, there's nothing real about reality TV. Duck Dynasty, that is one of the most normal families on the planet. All the jackassery they do is fake. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, all those girls get along together. They're just bored housewives.
The Jersey.
Deadliest Catch up in Alaska. And no, dude, that you understand, there's nothing real about reality TV. Nothing real.
Naked and Afraid.
There's nothing real about Naked and Afraid. But if they were to give me and Steve our own show, oh, shit.
You know, I happened to change channels the other day, and I hit one of the channels that Naked and Afraid, and they were showing the naked woman and naked man, and the little hut was falling apart and all this other stuff. And they're in some tropical environment. I'm telling you what, right now, I know that's fake, because if they're running around naked in the tropical environment,
oh yeah,
there are things out there that will feast on them. I think one movie it said, you know, in this jungle, everything can kill you and will.
Yeah.
And I remember that many times in Triple Canopy Jungle, hear little clickety clicks at night, and I'm like, what the hell is that? Take my little red light and just barely open it up. And there's these bugs down there about big as my hand. They're all going clicky, 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 just waiting for my hammock to fuck up and just fall down.
We were Charlie Company before I went to A15. I was in Charlie Company. One of my last deployments was them. We went to Ethiopia, and we had a couple hard stand buildings. But I remember I had to take a piss, so I went out to, we had a couple porta potties out there, and we had a couple roving guards, because while we were there, Eritrea went to war with Ethiopia. So I'm training guys that are no joke. They're going to the front line. You had just left Eritrea.
I was on the other side looking out and said, wait a minute, man.
He had just flown home. As soon as they left, Eritrea attacked Ethiopia. So I got MiGs straight from the runway. I got Hind Bravo gunships, helicopter gunships, pulling security. They weren't Deltas, they were Bravos, the round nose on the front. Yeah, it was, anyway, but this one particular night, I come out, I even had the old elbow flashlight back then. Didn't have it on. 97, 96?
So that's what I said. When I turned on my red light, I had to cover the lens just a little bit of light peeps out.
I come out, I'm on my way to the porta potty, and I see, catch something corner of my eye. Your peripheral vision has better night vision than the center of your eyes. It's the balance of rods and cones in your eyes. Sorry, I was an SF medic. I don't want to get too deep on you. But corner of my eye, I see movement, and you understand, I'm in a country teaching guys to fight the other country, and the war is only a few miles away. So this is kind of a big deal. I panned that light over there, and it was a freaking panther. Just happened to be walking through. He was inside the perimeter. He was, because our garbage, the locals would take care of our garbage. Well, half of our stuff that we were throwing away, they thought was still awesome. So they wouldn't dump it in their trash. They would pour it on the ground so everybody could go through it. So you got half-eaten MREs and stuff. I mean, everything. We had porcupines that looked like dinosaurs. We had a freaking panther. Who has a panther walking through their campsite? Randy talks about bears. There's a difference between a bear and a freaking panther. So, anyways, I'm drinking good coffee tonight, always. But I wanted to give a shout out again to Five Stone Frontline Coffee. This is the same stale one that you guys see me show you every day. Why? Because I keep it here on the desk to show you guys. But he just hooked me up with another 5-pound bag of whole bean espresso roast. And my family, you understand, every morning I have the family come over for coffee. And my espresso machine, I burn the buttons off the front of that thing. I really do. But we go through some coffee. So Eric, if you're watching, brother, thank you so much. Sincerely, thank you so much for taking care of us. We had a code for Frontline Coffee, guys. I cannot remember what it is. I want to say it's like TR10 saves you 10%. I'm trying to look it up here in my notes, but doesn't matter. What matters is great coffee, and I've drank it down 50%, so I can add some medicine.
pain.
Medicine. Why? Because
Ease the pain.
Cold brew coffee to put in my coffee. So, anyways, we're going to add just a little bit, not a lot of bit. Ooh, all right, I screwed that up. I filled the top instead of the bottom. Whoops. Whoops. All right, it's all good. I probably won't die. All right, so anyways.
Frank, down in
Susan,
Clearwater, Florida.
Dude, I'm falling behind already. Susan's getting pissed.
Yeah.
All right, guys. One of our moderators, she has sent us a couple questions that you guys sent in. This first one's from Vince. Carl and Steve, any thoughts on the future of warfare and the implementation of fully autonomous weapons and a dose of AI thrown in for good measure? You want to go first, Steve, or you want me to?
Okay. Anytime you have something that's mechanical, whether it's a armed, fully tracked robot, or it's an AR-15 trigger, mechanical things prone to fail. And that's why we always say, keep it on safe, keep your finger off the trigger, finger straight. Back in 2003, 2004, I forget what it was, we were at the NDIA conference in New Mexico. You know, in the NDIA, it's a huge organization, National Defense Industrial Association. One of the companies, vendors demonstrating was the robotic company, and it was called Swords. I forget what the acronym stands for. It got a 240 machine gun. So earlier that day, the 240 little robot would drive out, and it would engage the targets, and then they would back it back up in this little slot, and everything was good. So myself, Renock, and a couple other guys, Jay Johnson. So when everybody showed up in the buses, I mean, you know, all the government program people and civilians and everything, I'm talking about 150, 160, 170, 80 people. 25 yards between the berms go out about 200. So all the vendors with rifles, H&K, FN, Knights Armament, Barrett, everybody shot their demonstrations, and the last thing to shoot was the Swords robot. So I'm standing up on the berm looking down because I've already seen everything. I've seen everybody practice. So the guy starts the Swords, and it rolls forward like it did in the demonstration. It rolls forward about 20, 30 yards, and it was getting ready to engage the target, and it kind of jerked back a little bit, and I was like, oh, it's just the operator trying to get his bearing. So to show that the operator didn't need to see what the robot was saying, they had him about 200 meters way back on the other part of the range. So the robot kind of started jerking back and forth, and then it turned to the left. And then it turned to the left again. Then it turned toward the vendors. And you asked Jay Johnson about this. Reed Knight, Trey Knight, the FN reps, the crane guys, they all dove behind the tables as if the table was going to save them from a 240. You know, that talcum dust out of New Mexico. Dust was flying, women were screaming, cell phones were going up in the air, and it turned toward the crowd and started going to the crowd. And I was thinking in my mind, that's not good. So I run down the berm, and I'm in uniform, and I run down the berm, and I grabbed it by the handguard of the 240, and I lifted the robot up. Well, the treads are still going. And I'm thinking to myself, open bolt machine gun. Soon as that thing keeps jerking, that bolt goes forward, that's a 200-round belt that's going to start firing.
Yeah.
So I'm wrestling this thing, and the treads are tearing my uniform off. Good thing I was in good shape back then. Like, oh, that's a good-looking man. That's a good-looking soldier there. And I'm wrestling this thing, and I turn it away from the crowd, and I reach over, and I grab the charging handle, and I flip over the feed tray cover.
Yep.
And one of the guys from the NAIA, what was his name? I forget his name. Because he's a shame on me moment. And he runs over and he pulls the belt out. So everybody calm down. I look to the side, I see Jay Johnson and Reed Knight and everybody coming up out of the dust, like pushing dust off them and everything else. And so that's my idea of I can't until they get to a point where, I mean, they're there with drones, because they're going to spend more money on Air Force drones than they will an Army little robot. Yep. But remember, in Afghanistan, we used to call the Swords robot the
EOD guys were running them.
Yeah, but we used to call them the Taliban resupply vehicle.
Yeah.
Because the Taliban would see this little robot coming down the mountain trail, right? and it'll pan left and pan right, pan left, then it goes a little bit more. So they'll just circle behind it, run up on it, bash the sensor, steal the machine gun off of it, steal the ammo off of it, And the guy said, "What do you think about the swords?" They said, "Man, that's the Taliban resupply vehicle."
Yeah.
But I mean, in some instances, they would go inside caves, and I know they used to have like the tunnel rats in Vietnam, and God bless them, because that's a hell of a challenge, to go into somebody else's home in small confined space like that. And so the robots would go into the caves and clear the caves, which is a good thing. But I mean, AI right now, to me, it's just not there. I would not put trust in something that you don't have full control of and is weaponized.
Currently, and there's all kinds of, they're doing tanks, they're doing all kinds of things. The Air Force has actually got if you've seen the movie called Stealth, came out like 10, 15 years ago. Nobody watched it, or nobody would have watched it, except it had Jessica Biel in it in a flight suit and a bikini. So anyway, so everybody watches the movie, but the whole storyline is they have a AI ran fighter plane for the U.S. Navy, and these guys basically have to chase it down and try to win it back over and everything. That's no longer just science fiction. The Air Force is currently testing basically a wingman. They're not, and honestly, I believe the thing could fly and gun by itself, but right now to politically say, hey, we still have a human, they are regulated to being wingmans. I just watched read an article about it. Okay, it's still a long ways from being seen on the battlefield. That said, Steve mentioned it a little bit ago, drones. The Ukrainians back in, remember, I went to Ukraine in 2015, right after the 2014 kickoff, where the separatists took certain parts back, and the Ukrainian military planned on just going and quickly smacking them and taking their terrain back. They had their lunch completely eaten because the Russians had drones with thermals, and if you were to move a platoon, let alone a company or a battalion, that's a juicy target. Then the Russians hit it, smack it with artillery. So you can't move in a platoon. You couldn't move as a squad. So can you imagine what it's like for an infantry unit? A lot of you guys used to be in the military, finding yourself on a battlefield where you have to move your battalion from place to place on the battlefield, but you've got to do it in groups of ones and twos. Can you imagine what that would be like, right? Fast forward, we're over a year into the battle in the war in Ukraine right now. The Russians were expecting to be done at the 2-week mark. They're like, Ukraine, they're nothing. It's Ukraine. We used to pick on these guys. They expected to be done in 2 weeks. And the reality is they're getting their asses handed to them, because from 2015 to 2022, the Ukrainians have been training with the Americans and everybody else. They're training down at Tier 1 group. They mastered the Javelin missile. They mastered a lot of different smaller equipment that could be stashed in groups of ones and twos. And you look now, they are to the point where they are getting delivered so many drones that they are using the same civilian drones that you guys would buy at Best Buy. Exactly. And you can buy online. If you don't believe me, go look up the thing you put on your drone and what it's for. You see the guys out at the beach, they call it surf casting, where you basically stand where the waves are, 2 foot deep water, but you cast out behind the waves and you're catching the little fish running back and forth in the waves. Surf casting. Well, a lot of guys can't throw their bait out far enough. You don't have to anymore. You can take your drone, hook your line to it, fly it out 200 feet, and you hit another button, and it's something that you attach to your drone, and you hit a button and it will release your fishing line and drop it down in the ocean. It's being marketed to drop your fishing line, your fishing lure, here in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, understand, we've been fishing the Gulf of Mexico for, I don't know, 300 years,
yes.
right? 300 freaking years since we got here. That little clip that opens up for dropping your fishing line, it could drop anything, including a frag grenade that's got a bunch of tape wrapped around it. So as you open it, as it drops, the cloth unwinds, the spoon releases when it's so far above the ground, far enough away from your drone. You see what I'm getting at? This is as crude as you get when it comes to drone technology, but that is what is being used on the battlefield right now. So I don't worry about AI. AI, guys, is still 5-10 years down the road. Everybody says, well, that's not that far away. All right, here's something else for you. Everybody's worried about these sniper rifles that can shoot a mile. You understand we are 5 to 10 years away from energy weapons at a individual user level, and that's a laser. In other words, laser rifles with battery packs that are transportable by an individual guy. So now you don't have to lead a moving target anymore. You don't have to estimate range. You don't have to worry about Coriolis or the effect of wind or nothing, because it's moving at the speed of frickin' light, right? And I'm not joking. We are, so everybody's, well, this new optic for, they're only doing it for the military. They're not doing, I don't get excited about it, because your sons or your grandsons, they're not going to be using gunpowder for much longer. Our ARs and everything, guys, your ARs, your AKs, your shotguns, they're not going anywhere. Next 30, 40 years, we will still be using gunpowder, but you will see lasers on the battlefield without a doubt.
And keep in mind, guys, and I always say this, whenever we watch Star Wars and we cheer for the rebellion, we cheer for the rebels, cheer for Luke and Leia and Chewbacca the Wookiee.
That one outfit Leia wore. Oh yeah. Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
You got to remember, to certain,
I love you, honey.
Certain countries around the world, we aren't the rebels. We're the empire.
Yeah.
Okay. I stood in Djibouti and watched the USS John F. Kennedy aircraft carrier come through into the Red Sea, and everything there is flat. It's at sea level. This thing is 15 stories high. And they're like, dun, 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 dun.
You do that pretty good, Steve. He does that pretty good, don't he?
It is the Americans. It's the empire.
Luke, I tapped your mom. Luke, I need your mom throw her legs way up in the air. Luke, I am your father. Okay, on that note, we're going to go to the next one. Guys, I'm sorry I'm falling behind so bad. Sorry, Susan. Keep reminding me. Next one's from Juan to Steve. Got any good stories about Gunsight and working with Colonel Jeff Cooper? Good question.
I mean, what can I say, man? You pay homage to the great ones.
Yeah.
When I met him, I actually met him at the SHOT Show first. Then I went out to Gunsight maybe 3 times, and he remembered me the next year. We was at the SHOT Show, and we talked, and then I went out for another course. And he was very, very practical. Just flat out practical. 7 rounds in your magazine, round in the chamber, finger off the trigger, watch your front sight, make the trigger break, follow up. You run out of ammo, pull out your knife. Knife breaks, pull out your grenades. If they kill you with a whole bunch of empty mags and broken knives around you. And I really learned. He had a way of talking to you about the mindset, the combat mindset. Not just combat as in a guy kitted up in gear, running, his bump helmet with all kinds of nods and all the lights and lasers, SOT mod programs and stuff like that. He just talked about everyday people. What happens when things go bump in the night? And you hear me say that often. Guys, when something goes bump in the night, you bump back. But in order to bump back, you have to, one, first you have to identify that it is a threat. And Carl has told many stories about instances where it was somebody in the family and it wasn't a threat. And Colonel Cooper, I mean, he talked about that a lot. He talked about his experiences, tracking poachers and the Symbolese. They had so many acronyms for the different forces in Africa, who was fighting who on what day. I really got into the gun sight concept of the bolt gun with the intermediate eye relief scope on it. I played with that for a lot, and I think I had 2 or 3 of them that I built, and way before now you look at Ruger precision rifle, you look at Bagara, all these different rifle companies. They have bolt guns that take a Magpul 308 Winchester 7.6 by 51 magazine. I'm talking about back in 1997, 96, 97, 98, and I'm pushing the industry saying, hey, what Colonel Cooper is saying, it has a lot to it. And you had to go to like spin-offs.
Nobody had
somebody could do a one-off for a bolt gun that would take a 308 magazine. I think the first one I ever had took M14 magazines. And I worked a lot with Leupold. I helped them start their MRT line of scopes when we developed the SPRV program, SPR Mod 0, Mod 1, shame on them, and then the Mod H. And I really worked hard with the scout rifle concept, the scout scope. I never could get it right for me because I really wanted more field of view. But I remember hunting with one of mine for a whole year. I told myself the whole season, I'm going to go scout, I'm going to go scout, I'm going to go scout. And then there were times when I would have shots on really good Kentucky whitetail bucks that were at, 280, 320 or something like that. And I wished I had my standard day optic, which I think I mentioned to you guys. I don't like to go above 10, maybe 12 in magnification, but Colonel Jeff Cooper, talking about him is almost like talking about, Eugene Stoner or Mr. John Guerin and the other great ones that came before us, because we build off of the foundation that they started. Even with me with the Mark 12, I'm not building a rifle. Eugene Stoner built the rifle. I'm just building a different modification that serves a specific or a general purpose in combat better than the standard product that the U.S. Army puts out. So those, when you mention guys like that, and I would also put Clint Smith in that same conversation, because Clint Smith, yes, he trained under Colonel Cooper, but he's taking it to another level. It's like I would tell Carl all the time. Carl, he would say, "Oh well, Steve was my instructor." Steve, I said, "No, Carl, you snatched a pebble from my hand 15 years ago." And speaking of which, Carl would never let me tell you about our encounter with Luke Rockhold, the UFC, the middleweight
MMA. What is it? UFC?
UFC? Yeah, UFC. Was he the middleweight champion? He wasn't a welterweight. You got the middleweight, then you got the light heavy. I think it was a middleweight.
He's
champion.
A big son of a gun.
Yeah, he is. So we're at this event, social influencing event, which a lot of you guys, when I talk to you about you could be a good social influencer, that means I see something in your personality and your skill set that is going to come across to people that want this kind of information from a person that can project it the right way. So if I say you're going to be an amazing social influencer, listen to me. So we go to the social influencer event, which is like 40 miles from my hometown.
Big Daddy Unlimited.
Big Daddy Unlimited. At the 17 South Rod and Gun Club, where we're going to hold some training once we get everything worked out.
Okay.
So Luke Rockhold, oh my gosh, I'll think of the names in a minute. But anyway, I'm telling Luke Rockhold what a great trainer Carl is. Okay? And of course, Luke Rockhold, he's got his entourage with him. He's got his beautiful, girlfriend, kind of all the UFC fighters at the event. They have,
Oh, that's right. You picked up a 5.56 casing, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as I'm telling him about Carl, and maybe he should come train with Carl, and Andre the Pitbull, UFC. Carl walks up, and I say, "You know what, Luke? Speaking of Carl Erickson, tactical rifleman, here's Carl right here." So Luke turns, looks. He kind of looks Carl up and down, and he said, "Well, this guy's been telling me that, he's good, but you're better. You've grown beyond him. You snatched a pebble from your hand." And Carl said, "Well, I don't know." And so Luke bends down and picks up a 5.56 case off the ground. And he goes, "Yeah, you snatched the pebble from his hand." And he held the head open. And Carl will not give me this video. He held his head open.
We got it on video. We did.
He held his head open. And Carl kind of looked away a little bit real quick. He kind of looked away. And I saw something move. I said, no. Carl did not just snatch that 5.56 spent case out of Luke Rockhold, UFC champion's hand.
He opened up his hand.
Opened up his hand, and his hand was empty.
He had poo-poo face, dude. Poo-poo face.
I fell back to my upbringing, in South Georgia. I went, damn! Snap! So did all the cameramen around there. They were like, oh my God. Oh my God. So Luke, being, UFC fighter, he walks up to Carl. He goes, "Hey man, so what do you mean by doing that?" And he went to punch Carl, and he punched Carl in his EDC. And he snatched his hand back. He's like, "Oh my damn!" And Carl pulls up his shirt and goes, "You hit my EDC." And Luke was like, "Hey man, I bet you can't take one of my kicks. I bet you can't take." Carl goes, "I will shoot you." And I'm thinking to myself,
too much of me. I've been kicked too many times. I'm past that part
I was sitting there thinking to myself, okay, so goes the legend of the tactical rifleman when Carl shoots a UFC world champion.
I didn't know who this guy was. Everybody was like, "Hey, this guy's like." I just walked up. I was saying hi to Steve. He's talking to some cracker. I don't know who he is, but anyway, he was a super nice guy. He came back later on, and and that's why I'm not releasing the video, because I don't want shit like that getting on the internet, because he is a celebrity, and people jump at a chance to bash celebrities, and you guys understand I'm so past that in my life. All right, we got a bunch more. Here's one from Cash Me Outside.
Snatched the pebble from my
It's about 10 times faster than that because I use my left hand. Yeah.
Oh God, I almost forgot about that one.
All right, Cash Me Outside. Have either of you been trained on flamethrowers?
Yeah. I grew up watering.
It gets better.
I grew up watering my front lawn for my mom. That's all a flamethrower is. You just put it and spread.
And what do you think about hosting a class? Now, actually, when I first got to Fort Campbell, Range 14, which was the 600-meter KD range.
KD range, right.
Right behind it was our NBC chamber, gas chamber. But the field right in front of it actually had a sign back in the day that said flamethrower range. Now, flamethrowers had since been retired in the U.S. Army before 1985 when I first got there. Back in, you guys remember the movie Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger? He has this 4-barrel rocket launcher.
M202.
M202 Flash. And they had HE rockets, but they also had white phosphorus rockets. Now, it was dropped from Army inventory late 80s, but not before Private Erickson actually got to shoot 4 or 5 of these clips of rockets while I was a private in Korea. That was cool, shooting the white phosphorus rocket. So why did we get rid of the the flamethrowers? What is the job of the flamethrower? The job of the flamethrower is to get into places that you can't get into by throwing a hand grenade. We had rifle grenades back in the day, but they just weren't very accurate at all. Fast forward, Vietnam era, we had became affectionately known as the Thumper, the M79, which was the 40 millimeter grenade launcher. Bunch of different rounds for that. We want more of them. We want more. Matter of fact, we want one in each, not just each infantry squad. We want 2 per squad, 1 in each fire team. But then, well, you're losing too many rifles. So they ended up going to what became the M203, a underbarrel mounted version of it. Awesome weapon. But you see with it, you're now able to reach defilés. You're now able to get into bunkers. And the flamethrowers, who wants to carry a 5-gallon tank of gasoline, thickened diesel on their back? Nobody wants, you understand, nobody wants to do that.
Your pressure tank.
Oh, yeah. No, you don't want to do that.
Here's a good one for you. We fly back in from overseas, and all our Sea-Land containers and our pallets are laid out in this big parking lot. And the customs guys come in. They want to go through our Sea-Land containers and check them for illegal contraband, as if an SF guy is going to try to sneak.
SF guy going to try to sneak stuff home.
No. So as they're going through these containers, one guy comes out and he yells for the captain. The captain goes in. He comes back. He yells for the major. The major yells for the sergeant major and the colonel. And all these custom people go around this one Sea-Land container, and everybody all the teams are looking at each other like,
somebody's in trouble.
So these guys walk out of the Sea-Land container with the World War II flamethrower. I mean, it was no doubt. As soon as they walked out, I was like, oh, know what that is. So, of course, they look around this formation of about 250 guys. We've been overseas for 6 months. They dude, we want to go home. We'll take some Jack Daniels, drink some tequila. Grab our woman. And they go, all right, we'll hold everybody here all day till tomorrow, whatever, until somebody fesses up. They go, who does this belong to? And we kind of looked at each other like, yeah, right, like somebody's going to confess to that. And we hear a voice in the back of the formation. Somebody goes, hey, that's mine. So we all turn around, and there's First Sergeant Pat Traeger. And Pat goes, yes, sir, that's mine. Yep, that's mine. And they go, well, First Sergeant, would you come over here, please? And they get in a huddle, they're talking. Now the commanders, are walking over there because that's their guy now. So now they got a big huddle, about 25 people in the huddle. And Pat knew this was going to happen. So he reaches to his cargo pocket, pulls out about 3 or 4 pieces of paper, and he flips it out there and goes, the flamethrower of the United States Army is not a weapon. It is an engineering device. And they grab the paper and all get in the huddle, and they're like, and then they come back and they get back in the huddle, and they come back and they go, First Sergeant, you are absolutely correct. It is not a weapon. It is an engineering device. And you still can't keep it. And to this day, every time I see Pat, I go, it's an engineering device. But that's a true SF guy. He's like, I know what's going to happen, but I have a counter.
Cover his ass.
Yeah. Nice. And I think we have it in the 5th Group Museum.
P.Y. Your mama named you weird as shit, dude. He threw down $10 of Hong Kong money. Pete here. Steve, where do you get those cool shades?
These cool shades, pray tell, I got Carl a set about a year ago.
Oh, that's right.
But I got him the blue ones.
Sweet. Yeah.
These are the Tony Stark Iron Man.
Nice.
Shades from Iron Man 3.
Mine are the ones from Pulp Fiction.
No.
I got the Tony Stark one?
You got the Tony Stark ones.
Nice. Okay.
After I saw the blue ones on you, I said, blue don't look good on me, so I just get the black ones. But I got them off of Amazon. Go up there and just punch in Tony Stark Iron Man 3 and Avengers Endgame. You see Tony Stark when he walks out of the building and he pulls a little thing and he transforms and takes his glasses off. Those are the same glasses. I said, I bet Carl looked at them. So you thinking about Pulp Fiction because I got you the John Travolta
the wig and the shirt, the Big Kahuna shirt.
Big Kahuna shirt.
That was awesome. I got another one here from Vince. Steve, I recall you had some engine problems with your truck a while back. Did you get them sorted out?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. We went up to Louisville Armory in Louisville, Kentucky.
Low light, no light shooting course.
Low light shooting course. And a good SF friend of mine, my brother from another mother, Tom, came down and he took my truck up to Indiana. And while we were training low light, no light course, the good mechanics of Indiana, they squared me away.
P. Eltme's back from with 25 Hong Kong dollars this time. It's Peter. Steve, might you be able to survive and thrive in fictional world Amphibia? Said place on another planet is around Australia. Size Carl knows.
A fiction? Hell, I'm trying to survive in this world, much less some fictional world.
Sean Alexander, Carl, who makes the best tactical helmet? Honest, guys, I don't like saying best of anything because you understand this is a live stream. We're live tonight, but you understand this is also a historical document. And people come back and they watch our live streams later. The helmet that I run is a Team Wendy. Whether you like Team Wendy as a company or not really doesn't matter to me. All right. I got it because at the time it was the lightest level 3 helmet at the time. All right. Go back to the varsity teams. You have SEAL Team 6 and you have Delta. They both wanted helmets that covered more of the skull in certain areas. And the birth of our new helmet that is cut above the ears. There are two companies that worked on that hard, OpsCore and the Cry Precision Airframe. The OpsCore helmet, even though it's cut above the ears, unlike our Mitch helmet that is mid-ear, it actually covers more of the skull because it's a little lower in the front and it is much lower, wraps around deeper in the back. Right, so it covers roughly the same amount of skull, higher on the ears, so your ear pro fits better. They worked with the SEALs, SEAL Team 6, to develop that helmet, so I'm told. All right, please, guys, don't quote me. Not OpsCore, Cry Precision went in a different direction with their airframe. If you look at the airframe, it's a back wrap piece, yes, but the front is a completely separate, thicker piece, much thicker. There's actually an air gap at the top. That was a hard thing for them to master because they had to build a bullet trap in there in case a round came in from behind and wouldn't just skip and run down into your face. They had to basically build a bullet trap there. But that top front plate is actually thicker than the helmet in the back. And the reason why they did that was looking at the first 5-7 years of the global war on terror, CAG, Delta, was taking a lot more casualties from the front and front high, second story windows and sides than they were from behind. So that's why their requirement for the helmet was more armor on the front. Fast forward, my old unit tried both of them. They're both great helmets. I believe US SOCOM ended up going with the OpsCore helmet, or that design anyways. It has the little dial that you twist to tighten. That's like on all the bike helmets. Matter of fact, I have 2 bump helmets. One of them is for riding my bike, riding my mountain bike. One is a OpsCore, and one of them again is another Team Wendy. And so honest, there are other good, Hard-Headed Veterans makes good helmets. I just caution you that when you buy a helmet, zoom in on it. Do your homework, because understand, if they're drilling holes to mount nods, you can't drill holes in these helmets. You have to, there's a special press, a big needle that when they press it down, it pushes all the threads out of the way, because that Kevlar, that thread is ran millions of different directions. And when you drill a hole, you're not just to put a nod mount right there, you're not just weakening that part of the helmet. You're cutting threads that go in every direction. So anyways, be careful when you're buying helmets, guys, or buying any body armor. Please do your helmet.
You're
do your homework.
You're compromising
the entire thing.
The entire thing when you do that.
I didn't know that. I actually got a class on it from Tom Heckens, who was one of my sniper cell leaders when I was team sergeant. We were getting new helmets, and some of the ones that showed up didn't have nod mounts. We were going to just drill holes. And Tom's like, no. Let me explain why. And I was like, here I am, an E8 Master Sergeant, Green Beret, been around forever, but I'm not too proud to not learn something. So what he said didn't just make sense. It was 100% true. So you got to be careful, guys. You got to be careful. All right.
So I want to get back to this question about the cartoon character and the fictional world or fictional game or something like that.
Amphibia.
Is this like a waterborne world?
I would assume so, Steve. Yeah.
Okay. I will look that up later on.
I think Steve would make a great cartoon character, don't you think? He would, man. Dude, Steve could be an action figure. You'd be a better action figure than me, man. You'd be a better action figure than me. You would, without a doubt.
Anyone that can snatch the pebble from Luke Rockhole's hand can be an action figure.
PY is back. Pete here. What birthday cake was it last stream? What birthday cake was it last stream?
We had the blue, red, white, and blue.
I have a patron named Mike Quigley who sent a patriotic birthday cake.
Quigley Down Under?
His last name happens to be Quigley. Mike is good people, and Mike is real good people and good friend, and that's the best birthday cake I've ever had. Right.
Speaking of birthday cake,
you didn't bring me a piece of birthday cake in your haversack.
I got my haversack.
Yeah, it's haversack.
Last week, I did not know it was Carl's birthday.
Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday to you. I sang to you.
He did sing.
He did sing to many people. So I didn't know it was your birthday. So, sometimes I'll say things, in my past, or things like the path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the inequities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. But I've changed. I'm a new person now.
Okay.
I'm a new person. Okay. I'm a new Steve.
New Steve.
So,
as opposed to
belated
old Steve.
birthday.
Belated birthday. You brought me a birthday present?
I brought you a birthday present. Reach into the magic white bag in my haversack and pull out your birthday present. She feels good, doesn't she?
Nice, dude. I've always wanted a tan box. Oh, dude, check this rubber band out. Sweet. Oh, Steve, dude, look at that. Oh, that shit looks good.
The path of the righteous man.
All right, let me see.
The path.
Is it ticking?
I used to go that direction.
Oh, what? Bad motherfucker. Oh, it gets better. He got me a new wallet. How do you know I need a new wallet? It's the wallet that says bad motherfucker.
Reach in there and pick out a wallet. Which one is yours? It's the one that says bad motherfucker.
It's the one that says bad motherfucker. Thank you, Steve. Dude, that is awesome. That is awesome. Nice. Dude, I'm nice. I did need a new wallet. I did. I hope it's got a slot for my SF coin. All right. Oh, and it does. It's got a slot for my SF coin. Well, thanks, Steve. Nice. Reach in there and grab me out my wallet. Well, which one is yours?
You even got the license.
Yeah, the next time I get pulled over, Steve, that's the license I'm pulling out, man. I'm so putting that in my wallet. What would you do, Johnny Law? All right, because I know I got some law enforcement guys. I get pulled over, you ask for my license, and I hand you this. You think you're funny? Well, one, I know I'm funny, but two, did you just pull me over because I'm black? Oh, okay.
Well, I guess you're right.
And it came with a rubber band. That's so cool, guys. You realize you can do so much with a rubber band. You really can. I'm gonna toss the box, but I'm totally keeping that wallet. Oh, dude. Thank you, Steve. That's awesome, man.
Happy birthday, man.
That, dude. Thank you so much,
Happy birthday.
Steve's a hugger.
I didn't know.
He's a hugger.
I didn't know.
Thank you, dude. That is awesome, man.
But you know what they say about huggers, right?
What's up?
We hug you so we know what size to dig the hole in the backyard.
There's that. There's that.
Somebody sent me that today. He goes, "You know why we hug?" I go, "Why?" So we can get the measurements when we dig a hole in the backyard. You know who you are. You know who you are. You sent it to me today. I want to give a shout out to my brother Mike L. My brother from another mother.
Mike.
From Nosler. Yes, that's right. Nosler Ammunition. Mike is one of the... Mike's been there forever. And he's one of the guys that... I mean, he's just awesome. He's just awesome. And he's one of those guys that he's not a suit, you know. He's one of us. But, I mean, he helps suits, and he's with suits to make decisions.
Yep.
And he was one that, you know, when we started the 6-1 SPC program, Nosler got involved in it, and they make the, I think it's the 100 and the 110 grain AccuBond 6.8 rounds that we mentioned to a lot of you guys with questions about deer hunting and hog hunting with the 6.8, and you always hear me say, you know, look at the Nosler AccuBond, look at the Hornady SST. Now the SST and the AMAX, good projectiles, good bullets. They're not bonded like the AccuBond. And Don Alexander, the great fifth group warrior, he turned me on to the slaying ability of the Nosler 6.8 AccuBond rounds.
Okay.
I mean, when Don says this is the one, then that's all I need to know.
Michael Johnson. Question. Hi, Steve and Carl. Thinking about switching to a new lightweight 308 SPR with suppressor. Good idea for general use. Me then Steve. First off, it depends on your situation. If you are out in an area where you've got the range to where you need a 308, okay. But if you're talking home defense, truck gun, honest, you're going to be able to carry more 5.56 ammo. Even 6.8, 300 blackout. You understand, I grew up behind a 308 rifle. My first 308 rifle was an M21 back in the day, and then a M24 sniper weapon system, and then an SR25, right? And you add M60 machine guns and everything else. But understand, everybody else around me they weren't carrying 308. They were all carrying 5.56. And there's a reason for that. Honest, if 308 is your thing and you just love 308 and you're in an area where you need harder hitting rounds, you know, you're out Oklahoma where you've got distance, or, you know, you're up Montana, Colorado where you're worrying about, I don't know, bears or something.
Or Chicago, because you're on the 15th floor.
Even Chicago, I think I'd still go with 5.56.
I'm on the 20th floor.
You understand? I can get 5.56 magazines off of cops. I can get 5.56 magazines off of gangbangers laying there in the street. You know, there's just not that many people in the U.S. running 308 anymore. So I don't want to steer you away from it. I think everybody needs a 308 in their inventory. But first, you decide what's best for your mission. Get yourself one gun, master that gun. Get yourself a spare of that gun that you have mastered, because 2 is 1, 1 is none. After that, if you want to dabble a little bit, get something different for the family, get something different for longer range, get some special purpose weapons. For example, my Barrett M107A1 with the short barrel with the suppressor.
Special.
You understand, if the Chinese roll up in a Bearcat because they think I've got a...
Not if, when.
Yeah, if the Chinese or the North Koreans roll up with a Bearcat because they think I've got a pistol brace on a rifle, having something that can kill a Bearcat at a kilometer is not bad to have in your inventory. You know, we talk about drones, right? Earlier, you understand, how do you kill a drone, right? Because you understand, they sell 12 gauge rounds with little nets in them. All right, you understand, I could care less about less lethal and non-lethal when it comes to drones. You take the range of that little net and compare it to what good old redneck buckshot would do against that drone, and you'll find that it takes very, very little mass to knock a helicopter out of the air, and that's all a drone is a small helicopter. So, oh man, Susan is saying we are falling behind.
Philip Wilson, guys, could you please explain what we need to do to check a sidearm and ammo on a commercial flight? Yeah, I will explain. It's a search engine. It's called Google. Go up to TSA, Google TSA, and Google the rules and regulations that you need to do to carry a firearm.
Understand, it varies by...
changes all the time.
But it also varies by carrier as far as their rules. But TSA is set. In other words, if you violate a certain airline, no big deal, so long as you're not violating TSA. But for the most part, guys, stay under 10 pounds of ammunition and have them in a locked box, with the understanding that you have to declare it as soon as you get there. You got to fill out your little card. They're going to have you put it inside the case. Don't go through security yet. They're going to take your suitcase. They're going to put it on the conveyor. Don't go through security yet. Sit down, because right there, because when the TSA guy goes to X-ray it, he's going to see sexy stuff, and he's going to ask for your keys. He just wants to see your sexy stuff. All right. So what I do is I sit down and I wait for half the time they leave the door open, and I see them all of a sudden go, ooh, 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 and then he'll read the tag, ooh, and then they'll come over the intercom, paging Carl Erickson. Carl Erickson, report to the Southwest counter, because I fly the zoo. I can't afford to fly Delta. And the guy will ask for the key, and then usually they'll come back and they go, dude, man, I've never seen one of them. That is badass. Did you build that yourself? Honest, don't sweat it, because the guy that runs the X-ray, he's not one of the piece of shits that's in there wanding your stuff. Chances are he is one of the more senior guys. And I have had stuff before I retired. Almost every one of my Pelican cases would pop hot for petting explosives, explosive residue. I'd be on my way to a shooting competition, but understand, we had just flown back from Fallujah, Iraq. Every box, every kit bag had explosive residue on it, and it pops hot. They got to wand it, they put it in the sniffer, and then it popped hot. The manager's got to come out, and he's got to sign the book once he looks at your ID, sees who you are, and then he walks away. While the guy does the very next box, understand, we've got 24 boxes. We're on our way to a shooting competition, 24 cases, and they got to stop us again. Well, the manager, understand, he lost his job as a manager at the Long John Silver's, so now he works for TSA. All right, he comes out and he signs the book again, and he goes to turn around and walk off, and I'm like, "Hey, Woodchuck, where are you going?" Understand? I got 22 more Pelican cases here. Every one of them's gonna pop hot, so you need to stand right here. All right, just be patient with the airlines. They have a job and they make minimum wage. Minimum wage.
I got a good one for you. We're going through, I think we're going somewhere. Anyway, so we have 6.8 SPC ammo in MTM boxes, 100 rounds per box, in a Pelican box secured with TSA certified locks. So they called us on the internet. Would you, fifth group representative, come to the counter? And the guy asked me, they have already opened the locks, and he picks up the MTM boxes. He goes, are these the original manufacturer's boxes for this ammo? I go, no, they're MTM cases. They're better. They're weatherproof, waterproof. He goes, section sub 19, paragraph C-F-12 says you can only carry these in the original manufacturer's box. I said the original manufacturer's box is a paper box with a plastic thing that holds each round. This is an MTM box, and it's locked in a Pelican box. He said, nope, they can only travel in the original manufacturer. I was like, hey, why?
Because he makes minimum wage. Understand the MTM boxes are DOT approved. Department of Transportation DOT approved. They are. But again, you got to be patient with the people that work at TSA. God bless them, because when you can't cut it as a manager at Long John Silver's, you start your career in TSA. Please, you got to be patient with them, guys. Honest, we as a society, we get so mad about drivers on the highway. We get so mad about people being loud and just smile at them, and inside your mind you're dry firing on them, okay? But on your face, on the outside, just smile. Just yes, ma'am. I understand. You and I have a different opinion right now. You are confused about the actual regulation. That's fine. I would like to see your supervisor. And what you end up doing is that you have them bring the state troopers in, and you'll get your stuff approved, because the state troopers understand what DOT approved is.
We're going through one, and the guy stops me, and Jay and the other guys, they're already passed. And the guy, he's going through the bags, and he goes, we got one. Yeah. And everybody's standing around like, what the hell is going on? This guy's screaming at the top of his nose, we got one. He's pointing at me. I was like, dude, what is your problem? He pulls out my bag. He's like, I said, yeah, I declared, I went through the whole thing. He goes, we got one. So they get my ID, then they take me in the back. So Jay and Sean and the rest of the guys, they're like, I look at my watch and say, okay, we got 45 minutes before the flight takes off. So we go back in there. They call him the sheriff's department, and it turns out this guy in the sheriff's department, the sergeant, was a Marine. And he comes in, he goes, okay, what do we have here? And the guy goes, he explained to him, he lays everything out. And the guy goes, looks at him kind of like, he walks over to me, he goes, can I see your ID? I said, I don't have my ID. They took everything. I mean, I got my cross, and that's it. And the guy, he's over there talking to him, and he comes back, and he goes, Sean, I apologize for them. I represent the sheriff's department, but I apologize for them. And he got everything straightened out. So walking by this TSA guy, and God bless him. I know there are good people in every organization. And he's just standing there, he's frustrated. And I walk past him. I said, can I give you a piece of advice? He goes, what do you want to say? I said, if you ever do catch one, don't yell, you got one. Because you will be the first motherfucker I'm going to pop on my way to popping everybody else. He said, I got one, we got one. I said, you would have been the first one to go. And the Marine Sheriff's Department guy, he's rolling over, laughing his ass off. Because I am so freaking pissed. Clay Humula can confirm this. What did you
have, Steve? You have like one loose round in your bag?
No. Ask Jay Johnson. Jay Johnson tell you what I have. So,
all right. So we'll save it for another day.
We go through. I have a Boeing Mark 1 and a Mark 2.
Yep.
And you guys testify to this statement from me. This was just before the World Trade Center went down. I have in my bag a Mark I, a Mark II, and then something else. And they pull me aside. They open up the bag. They go through everything. And the guys are standing there like, hey, man, what's up? I said, I don't know what's up. And the guy goes, he pulls the knives out. He's like, checking everything. And he goes, okay, you clear to go. We thought they might have been box cutters. So I get on the plane. You ask our brother Clay. I said, Clay was, what's up? I said, man, they were looking at my knives and they said it was okay. They thought they were box cutters. It wasn't until 9/11 that I said, Clay, remember the time they stopped us at TSA and they were saying, hey, you got these knives, but, you know, they're under 4 inches and blah, blah, blah. They're not box cutters. I said, that's what this shit is about. So I'm not a conspiracy theorist. You want to tell me something? But anyway, I'm just saying.
Carlos Fernandez.
Carlos, ¿qué pasó, bro?
Could they say something about these UFO hearings in Congress?
And you guys worry about AI 5 or 10 years from now? Pre-2024 election, all right? We're going to get invaded. Am I a conspiracy theorist? I don't know, bro. You got something? You know something I don't know? There's always a reason when those people start stirring shit up prior to an election. Yeah. They already hit us with a pandemic.
They just wanted you to look somewhere else, dude. They just wanted you to look somewhere.
They got their little buzz balls and they're going to be zipping around the country. And everybody, oh my gosh. And the UN's going to come in and be Chinese and UN.
Hey, we need something to distract the masses.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
What could we use? Hey, man, we should talk about UFOs. Like, nobody's going to believe UFOs. You don't understand how good we got them with COVID. Trust me. Yeah. They'll believe anything.
We have drones that look like flying saucers. Yeah. And we're going to fly them all around. And everybody, guess what's going to happen? They're going to lock us down again.
Without further ado, he's actually sent a question, by the way. Question, do we use anything today that compares to the Bangalore torpedo? One, the Bangalore torpedoes are still in the U.S. Army inventory, number one. Two, Special Forces engineers, we actually, when we do cross-training, I was a Special Forces medic. I went on to be a team sergeant and everything, 18 Zulu. But the 18 Charlies, the engineers, the demolition experts, they would teach us how to make homemade Bangalores out of U-shaped pickets with blocks of C4 down the middle. The Bangalore torpedo is a great, great weapon for what it's used. There's something called a Miklik. Just type, and you don't even have to spell it correctly. Miklik anti-minefield explosive, and you don't even have to get the words all correct.
Is that the one they launch?
They launch it. It is a different ways to do it. You have it mounted on a vehicle, but you can do it as a trailer also. But it's designed to bring up to that minefield, that wire obstacle, right? Remember how they had to push the Bangalores and hook them all together? This thing is hundreds of feet long, and it's nothing but basically a fire hose filled with explosive. And they use a rocket, they launch it, and it lays out a fire hose filled with explosive. When they tack that puppy off, it will set off any mine, pressure plate, tripwire, tilt rod, whatever. It'll set off any mine, and it will clear any wire obstacle wide enough to drive a tank through. And it is totally badass. I actually got to see two in training. But here's the cool part. I got to watch them because the Marines just love to tear shit up. God bless the Marine Corps, dude. I love the Marines. Don't get me wrong, my Army buddies, y'all are okay. But the Marines like to tear shit up. So I got to watch the Marines use a Miklik going into Fallujah. There was talk that there might be mines at a certain part of the road. The Marines are like, we're not playing. Boom! I was like, that's sexy right there.
It's almost like...
That's a beautiful thing.
It's like 100, 200-foot long deck cord.
But not, deck cord, 50, military uses 50 grain deck cord. 50 grains of Penton explosive per foot. Now, take that and magnify it to the umpteenth power, and you're actually using, I believe it's C4. If it's not C4, it's Comp B. It doesn't matter. Penton and your RE factor, Penton is, Semtex is based off of Penton explosive. C4 is actually based off of RDX. What does RDX stand for? Here's a little bit of military trivia for you there. Obviously it starts with an R, then it's got a D, and then it's got an X. No, Royal Developmental Explosive, but RDX is actually cyclotrinitramine triexamine or something like that. It's like 60 letters long, and where RDX came around was World War II. All the battleships started getting bigger than World War I, so we needed bigger torpedoes. Can't make bigger torpedoes because then you need bigger torpedo tubes. The subs have already been made. They're already in the water. So how do you make torpedoes stronger?
More powerful.
More powerful.
Destructive.
You put less fuel in the torpedo, more room for explosive. Then you don't have the range. So what they did, and it's actually the British that did it, Royal Developmental Explosives, right? They came up with this new type of explosive called RDX, and it is, oh shit, I want to say it's like almost 40% stronger than your Comp B and some of your other stuff was, and where TNT has a RE factor of 1.
C4 has
C4 is like 0.61. RDX is 0.63, or whatever, vice versa. C4 is a little weaker than RDX because it has all the plasticizers mixed in it to make it malleable. But anyways, guys, we're not going to do explosives on the internet. We're not going to talk explosive formulas.
Carl, do we like Brick Mania Lego stuff?
Brick Mania Lego stuff. Growing up as a child, I had a great, like all children do, I had a great imagination. So Legos are awesome till you hit 7 to 10 years old, like it says on the label. But like right now, you understand an AR is Lego for guys. A Jeep Wrangler is that. Legos for guys. No, that's the truth. That's what an AR is. That's why people like Glocks. You understand you can get 10,000 aftermarket parts for a Glock. You can get 10,000 aftermarket parts for a AR rifle. You can't get 10,000 aftermarket parts for a Steyr AUG. I love the Steyr AUG. I wish the U.S. military back in the 80s when we were a peacetime army, I wish we had switched to the Steyr AUG. We didn't do it. We missed our chance.
I am a fan of the Steyr AUG.
Man, that is such an awesome gun, dude.
If you guys haven't ever experienced the Steyr AUG, it is a bullpup. It's one of the very first bullpups out there. 5.56. It had a day optic built into the carrying handle. What was sexy about it was the trigger was press for semi-automatic, full retraction for full automatic. There was no selector lever. You shot semi-automatic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you pull back full automatic.
So you didn't have to hit the safety.
You didn't have to go from semi-automatic to full auto. It was a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing.
It had a in carrying handle optic back before anybody was running optics back in the day. It was definitely cutting edge. You could switch the ejection from left to right. So if you had a left-handed shooter in your infantry squad, great gun. Guys, I'm going to look at because I'm always looking for video ideas. And if you guys know anybody who can get me a good deal on one, I'm actually in the market for a modern a modern AUG that has got the flat top so I can run different optics on it.
I love it. I love it.
Not a SCAR. I'm not a fan of the SCAR. Pete's back again. He threw down 50 Hong Kong dollars this time. He really wants to know, in Amphibia, fictional Australian-sized continent. Show game by Matt Bradley with Night Tools, Arsenal, First Aid. Brother, you understand, me and Steve don't play video games very much. And
if at all.
If at all. All right, next one is from Yeet.
Allow me to interrupt. Okay. That is Brickmania Lego.
Brickmania
Lego
Legos.
stuff.
Oh, so they've got all kinds of blasters for your Legos. Understand, that would be totally badass if I was still 7 to 10 years old. Yeet's back again with 25 more
I'll play your Brickmania
Hong Kong dollars.
I'll play it.
You want Matt Rendar, CBRN Art Draw, Steve, the cartoon style characters. This guy's using firearms. I know them by other methods, can contact them. Sure, I would love to see Steve Holland as a cartoon character. Yeah, and that's a good looking dude.
Brickmania Lego. Brickmania Lego.
He could do, can you imagine Lego Steve? Come on now. You do a Lego Steve, a Lego Randy? That would be cool. Rifleman threw down $10. Carl and Steve, have you ever lost your motivation drive? And if so, how do you revive it? Understand, I know you guys see us here smiling every day. You do. And
no, every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. So we get 6 days.
But my patrons, I post once a week for my patrons, and I always have a smile on my face. If you guys don't know what I say when I say patrons, I say patreon.com/Tactical Rifleman. You can pay however much you want, and you get additional extra content from Tactical Rifleman. Quick shooting tips that are not available, question and answer videos, Zoom live streams, bunch of stuff. Matter of fact, we're doing our Patreon only course in late October. It's more like a 4-day party than anything else. But I open up with my patrons sometimes, and yeah, guys, I have rough days. I do. There's a T-shirt out. I see it on Instagram every once in a while, and on the front of the shirt it says "Be kind," and on the back of it it says, "Every person you meet is fighting problems that you know nothing about." And there's a lot of truth of that. And understand, my wife does not want me sharing dirty laundry and sharing family problems and sharing my family at all with you. My wife lives a very private life, as does my family. And I have shared a lot with you guys. And why would I do? Because you understand, I'm putting my family, the more you guys learn about me, the more I'm making myself a target, the more I'm putting my family in jeopardy. So why do I do it? I weigh it. And like, can I make the world a better place by sharing my experiences, my successes, and my mistakes? And sometimes that's a yes, and sometimes it's a no. All right, so you hear me talk about my bees and my fruit tree orchard and my shooting range, where you guys see our videos filmed. And but there are times that I open up to my patrons. I have rough times, guys. I really do. And like, you guys are watching this live stream for free. This is not costing you a dime. This is free internet. Free internet. You guys can put negative comments on any one of my videos because it's completely free. You know, people say that I talk too much or our color balance is wrong. I'm like, motherfucker, this video is free. It's free. Didn't cost you a dime. I have, the only reason I'm able to keep this channel going, because you understand, YouTube has completely demonetized our channel pretty well. All right. We don't get the views we used to get. They do not like Carl Erickson or Steve Holland. They don't like us because we're trying to make the world a better place. The only thing keeping Tactical Rifleman alive is my patrons. So if you think Patreon is stupid and why would I pay $5 a month to support Carl, that's crazy. Okay, for that cup of coffee that you're pissing away, or that one beer you're drinking with dinner, if you understand, enough of you do that, you're helping me keep Tactical Rifleman going. And it's hard because there's a lot of times I'm having bad days. I'm a disabled veteran and I'm supposed to be retired. I'm supposed to be spending time with my wife. But I had a buddy, Al Knox. Al Knox retired, and within a month he was dead. He retired, and he was on a Halo team in Charlotte Company. I was a Halo team in Alpha Company. He got attached to my A team for the right before the second Battle of Fallujah. I have pictures of Al shooting my SR-25 off the hood of my Humvee because I got tired of shooting the bad guys. That's how much fun we had that night. We had, I want to say we had 20 cans of 40 millimeter linked ammo for the Mark 47 automatic grenade launcher on the Humvee. And we saved 1 can of ammo for the drive back to the safe house. And while we were taking turns shooting that, we were shooting, we had a couple M1 Abrams tanks, the Marines, to our left arm. We had a great time. But anyways, Al Knox was there. I did language school with Al, great guy. We were the same SF guy. He retired and just sat on the couch. A month later, he had a heart attack and was dead. And I thought about it, and I was like, I'm not going out like that. I'm not. My wife works. My daughter's going back to school. My son works. My ass is not sitting on the couch. So, yeah. So how do I motivate myself? That's you guys right there. That's how I motivate myself.
I was sitting on the couch a year and a half ago, and Carl reached out to me, and he said, "Steve, come and do this."
Get up.
And Randy reached out to me and said, "Steve, come and do this." And these are my brothers. I grew up with them in SF. I mean, I have brothers that, I grew up with in my hometown in Brunswick, Georgia. I talk with, my brother from another mother, Keith Pacer, all the time. Not just, I say my football buddy, but he's my brother, my hunt buddy. And I laugh whenever I think of being Keith, honey, at 15 years old. Here's a gun, here's a shotgun, go in the woods and hunt. But here we are today, and my brother, Tony Palm, back in Brunswick, Georgia, Michael Cash, James Dial, I mean, all of them. Then my military buddies, I was talking to Keith the other night, he said, "Hey man, you remember this place right here down on this street, and it's around the corner off of Cox Mill Road, and this," I said, "Keith, I was in the military for 30 fucking years, okay? I can tell you more about Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and how to get from one spot to another, good, bad, or indifferent. Don't go to this part of town, but if you do, talk. As soon as they look like they want to go down on you, tell them you want to see Wadi al-Salim, okay? I can go on the other side of town, then go cross the border into Eritrea to Asmar, and tell you how to get to a whole bunch of different places. Now, let's talk about Saudi Arabia. Let's talk about Kuwait. Let's talk about Bahrain." So I said, "Keith, down the 2 blocks off of Coxman Road, no, I don't remember. But at the same time, you have this experience inside you that can only be shared with people that shared it. And when you're taking incoming rounds, and that supersonic snap is just popping, and you look at the person next to you, and you both know you could be like in like a second, and you get to that point mentally where you don't care because you know you're good at what you do, and you look at each other and start laughing, and you go, "Hey man, let me shoot your rifle for a minute because mine's kind of hot right now." Or you're shooting a Barrett, and I'm shooting this right here. I want to try something. Yeah, I want to try something. But keep in mind, I believe that the path of the righteous man has been set on all times by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men.
Steve, I got 10 more questions.
I will not take shots at people that I know are only doing what they got to do to defend their families. Even though we're not the rebels, we're the empire. Luke.
On that note, John A., Carl and Steve, did you guys ever see the Future Soldier motorcycle style combat helmet at Nanic Labs? He's talking about the one with
Nanic
the
Labs.
full face.
Yeah.
Nanic Labs. I understand, and that's fine and all when you're holding the gun with the optic on it. That's got the cable that, you know. But the reality is the full face helmets, the ballistic front, that's fine for aviators. You'll see a lot of our crew chiefs wearing them. Matter of fact, I mentioned the Cry Precision helmet, the airframe. They actually made ballistic cheek pads that are split down the middle, and I understand they did it as a joke, so that it would look like the Spartan helmet. Seriously, it plugs into the O2 things, you know.
Right. Yeah,
and
I know.
Our modern helmets have the jacks for wearing an oxygen mask, right? So they already had the jacks there. These things come down on the side. That's fine and all, but the problem is you can't get a good cheek weld, all right? You just can't get a good cheek weld.
Guys.
Gary Bass.
Here's real quick. I know Carl's got to answer more questions.
Yes.
Google search engine. Look at a program called Talos. Talos. That is U.S. SOCOM's RDT&E effort at the Iron Man suit. A full combat suit with, you know, muscular supported, you know, gears and levers and everything else. And all these companies that are swarming in trying to get a piece of that, you know, $1 billion they set aside RDT&E. You see all different kinds of designs and engineering ideas on helmets, arm levers, chest plates, just a total Tony Stark Iron Man suit. So we watched that, we tracked stuff like that. Talos was ongoing right before I retired, and right after I retired, I was, you know, supporting RDT&E programs out of Washington, D.C. Talos was a big thing. Sometimes you get too many suits involved into these different programs. Sometimes you got to get an end user that doesn't have an ulterior motive. And a lot of these end users that I've dealt with, and shame on them, you know, me and my family, we do okay. We're not rich. I've never wanted to screw anybody. I really want to say I didn't want to fuck anybody over. Excuse me. But screw anybody just to make a dollar. And that's the way I live, you know. So there are a lot of things out there that you guys can see and know from even the video games you play. People watch those games. People in the industry and the government, they watch those games and they try to come up with these things.
We got 5 more.
Okay, send it.
All right, PY&J is back with 10 more Hong Kong dollars. You wish Daycraft Systems made a handheld 50 cal. No. No.
Who is Daycraft Systems?
They're the ones that make, you guys got to understand, Steve don't watch our videos, so he doesn't know. They make the 50 cal chain gun I did a video on. They make the...
track it, okay.
They make the minigun upgrade kit.
I mean, wait, when you say the company Thunder Berserk makes a 50 cal, I understand. When you say Daycraft, I think of like some kid's cradle, baby cradle with some little things spinning around, and the baby is reaching up and hitting it.
That's what I think when I think Daycraft. Chad Day.
Change your name. Yeah. Okay, I got it.
Philip Wilson.
Day Battle Systems or something like that, but Daycraft. The baby is spinning.
Chad, if you're watching, I love your stuff. I do. Philip Wilson threw down $5 minus shipping and handling. Guys, can you please explain what we need to do to check us? We already did that one. Sorry, my bad. PY&J's back with 10 more Hong Kong dollars. That's the Lego one. You
look at Hong Kong.
He gets a head here. My question is, did Carl name his channel the Tactical Rifleman Honor Steve Holland? You know, since PRI, SSA, etc. No, I did not. Guys, I actually was driving down the road. I worked down at Tier 1 Group in Memphis, and I was on my way back from Pensacola, Florida. I was talking to 7th Group down there, and was wanting to start doing training civilians. And Tier 1 group said, look, we're not giving you any money for marketing. At that very moment, this film crew that I knew that I'd filmed the Maximum Warrior competition with, Maxim Magazine and Jeep got together and did this shooting competition right before I retired, and that's how I won my Jeep. All right, it was 4 Marines, 3 SEALs, Air Force fighter pilot, a couple other guys, and some broken, crusty ass 5th group Green Beret Sergeant Major. I end up winning the Jeep. So the film crew calls me and they're like, look, we just got done filming this video for FPS Russia, and he is so unsafe he almost killed himself and the camera guy. So we noticed there's no like serious training video gun channels on the internet. We want to do one, but we want to do it with you. And at this, you understand, the exact same moment, I need a way to help promote training for civilians on the internet with no money. So that's kind of how we came up with the idea of doing the YouTube channel. So they go to start the channel, and I'm busy, I'm doing whatever, and they go, hey, we need a name for the channel. And I'm like, you call it whatever you want. They're like, no, you got to come up with a name. So I'm like, well, it's not competition shooting. It's going to be just tactical stuff. All right, so tactical what? Tactical Carl? I'm like, no. But we're not just pistols. We're, I'm a rifle guy. You know.
That's why we don't talk about shotguns.
So I'm more into rifles than pistols or shotguns and rockets and everything. I'm a rifle guy. So they're like, how about Tactical Rifleman? I'm like, yeah, fine.
Carl Lego.
So it was like, yeah, fine, do it. So they started the channel Tactical Rifleman, and I had like 3 or 4 other names that I bought rights to. It was like Survival, Tactical Survival, or whatever. A couple other names I GoDaddy paid for. If I had known Tactical Rifleman was gonna grow as big as it has, I would have come up with a cooler name, guys.
Stop it. It is the foundation of all the pretenders and wannabes want to be Tactical Rifleman. Even the Lego Brick Mania, Carl Erickson, a.k.a. Kinetic Energy, we're going to come up with the Lego Carl. All right?
Lego
Carl. Now, to the guy, I haven't forgot about the guy who talked about 308 762x51 as his primary rifle. I'm going to get back to you. Now, the guy that talked about mobility. You see that one?
Yeah, I got it right here. You want
me
to read it?
Yeah, I want you to read it.
All right. PY&J is back again.
He's back again?
This time, 25 Hong Kong dollars.
We got a parking spot outside. It says PY&J. So come on from Hong Kong.
You understand? I'm slowly changing his name. If he does 3 or more, it's gonna be PB. It's gonna be PB and J, peanut butter and jelly.
That's what I was thinking the whole time.
You understand? You're getting ready to be PB and J. So PB and J threw down 25 Hong Kong dollars. Steve and Carl, you guys like ground mobility vehicles, Humvees and/or Toyota Technicals, the Hilux Land Cruiser Tacomas, respectively. How you guys modify them? The sky's the limit. It's whatever the mission requires. We need more gas. Okay. Where can we store gas cans? How can we do better internal gas tanks? We need more guns. Okay. How can we do better gun mounts? How can we do more swing arms?
How do we support assault missions? How do we support deep desert missions? Okay?
We wanted smoke generators on the Humvees. Now, understand, a smoke generator on a tank, they hit a button, and it basically sprays oil onto your valve covers, the top of the engine, and it immediately burns off and gives these big clouds of white smoke on the back of the tank. You can't do that on a Humvee, because we actually tried this, by the way, with the windshield wiper sprayer, the little motor. You fill that thing with oil, and you take the jets, instead of spraying them on the windshield, you spray it on the motor. The problem, though, is all the smoke's coming up onto the windshield. That doesn't work. So what do? You take PVC pipe, all right, this big around, and you mount them about 4 feet long on the side of the Humvees, 3 or 4 of them in a row. And you drill a hole, and you just run a coat hanger, a straightened out wire coat hanger with a string on it. And on the top, you pull pins out of smoke grenades, and you carefully slide them down so the spoons don't come off. And you fill each tube with 5 smoke grenades. Now you need a smoke screen. You pull that coat hanger, it dumps 25 high concentration white smoke grenades right there on the ground. Brother, that's quite a smoke screen right there. You see what I'm saying? That is being creative. You just be creative. Then you get companies like Mill Systems Group in Nashville. They would take our requirements and go, all right, that's cool, but that's ghetto. We can do it better. And after a while, you find good companies like that would custom make stuff. ATS Tactical Gear would custom make us the ballistic nylon, the stuff to go over the seats and everything else. And you just find good people in your unit that can weld, riggers that can sew, and you just start modifying
people in
stuff.
the units. We have fabricators in the unit.
Fabricators.
Okay, here we go. Google search engine. PB&J in Hong Kong. PY&J.
It's
no disrespect.
Pietme. PB&J.
Pietme with respect.
With respect.
Google FIVAK. FIVAK. That's Foreign Indigenous Vehicle Armor Kit. What we do, or what we did, is we in a country where, let's say in Iraq, where they have the little Russian vehicle, I forget the name of the damn thing, but you drive it around. We had our RDT&E guys design insertable armor kits for these vehicles, for that specific vehicle. So I can yank a vehicle off the streets. The drop-in armor kit just drops in. Windows, side doors, front windows, everything else. The only way you can tell the difference between this ragged-ass vehicle and that it was upgraded with a super engine and armor is you walk up to the glass on the street, and the glass is about 3 or 4 inches thick. So you take that, and then we transition from the Humvee over into the Fly Defense vehicle, the M1299, I forget. But the current vehicle for SOCOM is the Flyer Defense vehicle. It used to be Flyer Defense, and the
I'm trying to find an optic here.
I'm trying to think of look up Flyer Defense, the M1288. I call it the Liberator, which is a trademark, and they were paired up with one company. Now they're paired up with another company, but you have to do the research on the search engine. But you look up the Flyer vehicle, the SOCOM's current vehicle, and you will see all the different variations that are available now versus when it was initially started as SOCOM, and the big army wanted to go in a different direction. And again, it goes back to the industrial military complex, in that GM and the other companies are trying to politically force Flyer Defense out of the game, but they can't because the vehicle is such a kick-ass vehicle. I'm not a vehicle guy, okay? I'm not a mobility guy. I had a mobility guy, which is Jay Johnson. Jay Johnson came to work for me in the S8, and I said, Jay, go do your thing. Come to think of it, I don't even want you in the office. I want you in the motor pool. He got an office in the motor pool. Jay, handle your business. Jay came to me, he said, hey, I need you to see this vehicle. I said, Jay, mobility is yours. Handle it. He said, no, I need you to come out and see this vehicle. So I went over, they put me in the vehicle, and the owner, I'm not going to mention his name, he drove me like to hell and back all over Fort Campbell. And I got back, I said, Jay, let's do it. It's a kick-ass vehicle. That is the one where you see me
Flyer.
shooting.
Yeah.
The Flyer. You see me shooting the M230 LF which is the 25 millimeter, 30 millimeter
30
chain
millimeter.
gun off the Apache on this vehicle.
I would have put up that video. I would have.
What's amazing is when they said, "Steve, we want you to come work with us." When I went out to California, I said, "Man, I'm not," and they showed me the vehicle. My first thought was, our warfighters are going to love this vehicle. Mm-hmm. And that's what made me work with Flyer, because I knew that the guys are going to love it. And when they did the M230 LF off the Apache onto a vehicle like we did the minigun in Fallujah, I said, the creme de la creme of what you are doing now is it's got to retract into the vehicle. And they go like, Steve, you lose your mind. I go, retract it into the fucking vehicle so it can go into the back of the Chinook like that. They did it. Most of the times with a Humvee, you try to get it, you got to take the M250 cal off.
Pain in the ass.
You got to take the barrel off the 50 cal, put everything on the hood, strap it all down. Then when you come out, you got to take the Mark 193 mount it, put the M2 receiver in, screw the barrel, do headspace and timing, all that, like 35, 40 minutes. The Flyer, you come off, M230 LF pops up, you lock it in place, you open the feed tray cover, you put in, when your feet shoot, you run some 30 millimeter rounds up to the main gun in like 2 minutes. And you're like, next time we're going to show you the video of the 230 LF.
We'll do it. All right, Steve, we got a couple more coming up here. All right, guys, we're wrapping up our questions here, which is good. We got a last couple. Philip Wilson asked, what is Tier 1 group? You guys have heard of the Blackwater compound in the Carolinas, okay? It became Academy after that or something. Anyway, it's a great training compound. There are other training sites out there, Darcy, and I used to bring my old unit to go hit all these different shoot houses. But there's one down across a river in Arkansas, outside of Memphis, in Marion, Arkansas, that's called Tier 1 Group. And it is a beautiful facility. It's got a drop zone. It's got 2 shoot houses. It's got a Rogers range. It's got medical training, on-road driving, off-road driving. It's awesome, awesome place. And when I retired, kind of like Steve, he wanted to work somewhere where the guys would be. I was offered a job by them, and the way I look at it, because I used to bring my old unit there before every deployment. So I was like, well, this is a way for me to go continue to train the next generation of Green Berets and still get to be around my old unit. So I worked for Tier 1 Group for quite a while. I was the director of special projects down there, and it's a great facility. I got certified as an on-road, off-road driving instructor, and you understand their medical training, everything from TCCC all the way up to live tissue medical training and training with flash frozen cadavers for the PJs and everything. And they have the Afghan village where they had my first time seeing Tier 1 Group. We got on the birds, mission planning at Fort Campbell. We flew out, and I remember going out the back of the MH-47 and under nods, seeing the Afghan village, and they had the green Shia flags blowing, and they had the Arabic music playing at the mosque and everything, and goats. And I was like, this is some realistic. And they had all the wires hanging from the poles. None of the wires were hot. So in other words, they were there to mess with the helicopters, but they wouldn't damage the helicopters if the helicopters actually hit them. And it was a great place to train. It still is today. They don't do civilian training anymore. They don't. If you're rich, they do private classes, but we do these things called a special operations experience every once in a while. But it's a great facility. You drive right by it. There's not even a sign on the road. It's a gravel road that goes off into the woods. And it's a really cool facility. All right, guys, I've had a couple more questions come in. We're going to knock them out. We're going to call this a night here. Here's one from K-Mech. What do y'all think about the latest hotness that guys are putting on their guns? What he's talking about is the latest hotness is they elevate their optics up, and they're aiming lasers and stuff up on the guns. They're raising them. Understand, guys, I understand that's the latest hotness on the internet. They say get you on target faster. The reality is if your gun is down 30 degrees at low ready and you go to bring it up to perpendicular to the planet, 0 degrees, same amount of time going from 30 degrees down to 0, whether you have a 4-inch tall optic or a 1-inch tall optic. The reason why they're doing it, all the cool guys, is they see certain special ops units doing it. But the reason why those certain special ops units are doing it is because they have got this, what's called a hard target defeat mission. In other words, they're required to wear gas masks with nods. Now, if you're always running nods and gas masks or just nods, and you're not allowed to turn on your IR lasers because every bad guy has nods, then you've got to look through the nods. It is very, 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 very hard to look through a EOTech with nods. It's the latest hotness now. I got that. You understand? It was the latest hotness in 99. It was the latest hotness in 2001. It was the latest hotness in 2003. And the reason, because at certain times the mission would come up. When the initial invasion of Iraq, for example, Saddam had the threat of chemical Scud missiles. So my unit, we were doing combat search and rescue for the Air Force. If we had to go into a slimed area, we had to be able to fight while wearing gas masks. So we got special full face clear gas masks. Nods had to now be on extenders, so they're further out. And we had to run our EOTechs on top of our carrying handles because you couldn't get a cheek weld with a gas mask. As soon as that threat was over with, we immediately went back to good cheek welds, because the reality is if you're going to shoot at 300-400 meters, you want a good cheek weld. I'm not bashing the guys on the internet. I understand that's the latest hotness, and they will tell you that it makes them faster. Again, I'm not bashing them, and understand they're shooting on a 25-meter flat range, and that's for the latest hotness. I don't care if it's 12-inch tall and you're shooting from the waist. I don't care, whatever they want to do. But understand, I don't want to fight the bad guys at 25 meters. I want to fight the Chinese or the Russians or the North Koreans at 300 to 400 meters. And at 300 to 400 meters, you having a 4-inch tall riser to where you don't have your cheek anywhere touching that gun, you're just not going to be as accurate as if you have a good cheek weld. So, brother, you say that you're an on-the-gun cheek weld kind of guy. Don't get sucked into the latest hotness. That said, if you're one of those guys that's tried the latest hotness and you've got a 4-inch tall riser and it works for you, so be it. Whatever works for you, that's fine. But understand me, I've had people actually say, Carl, you're really behind the times. You've got to try the new hotness, the new tall risers, man. You understand you're old school. Nobody's going to listen to you anymore. One, I don't care. I don't care if anybody listens to me.
He doesn't.
I really don't. But
and I'm glad he doesn't.
But two, the latest hotness was the latest hotness in 2003.
That being said, Carl,
it was the latest hotness in 2000.
That being said, let me get this out before it jumps to another one. You just explained to me. I see this often, and I'm thinking, why are these guys doing this? It never occurred to me that, because sometimes you leave yourself open to new ideas, new concepts.
Yeah. No,
and I'm thinking maybe these guys know something that I don't know. I'm not fully in the game all the time, but now I understand that what they're doing, because I thought maybe I'm so far behind that I'm missing a skill set, because that doesn't make sense to me. Now it makes sense, because I was thinking that's not the way to do it. But maybe I'm a dinosaur.
And I'm the same way.
But now I understand. It's a new hotness, and they don't realize that the reason that the Go guys are doing this is because
got a
of
messed
the
up mission
gear
right now.
Of the gear that they're wearing. You take that gear away, they're not going to run anything like what you're mimicking.
Go away from it. Yep.
You're mimicking something that is not correct for the forum or the venue that you're dealing with. But you know, it's the latest. It's the latest.
Susan Britcher just threw down 50 Australian quid.
Her own quid?
Australian quid. The Queen's money. Queen's money right there. 50 of the Queen's money right there.
Susan throwing out her own personal quid?
Because you are awesome and we appreciate you and Steve. And 50 Aussie is still not quite as bad as 50 Hong Kong dollars. Susan, we appreciate it. Thank you. All right, we got one more here.
Aussie.
PB&J is back. Peter here. We figured that out, Peter. We figured out. Everybody knows who you are. Thanks for mentioning the 50 Hong Kong. I'm sorry. Thank you for mentioning a 50 Hong Kong Susan. Smiley face crying. All right, guys. Here's the deal. We are at 8:55. We're not taking any more questions. All right.
So I guess the whole. Okay. So 45 minutes was going to be set aside for us to talk about and review the original Mark 12
that one
SPR.
But you guys had to run your
6.8 SBC, but you're ready to suck all night.
You're going to have to wait till next week?
Got to wait till next week.
That's fine, though.
That is the original Mark 12 SPR 20-inch barrel that was loaned to me because I don't own a Mark 12. Shame on them. Precision Reflex. Shame on them. LWRCI. Shame on them. Silver State Armory. And we were going to talk to you because you guys asked us last week about load data. I bought the Bible, the book itself.
He covered his recipes up with tape.
I pulled a Democratic little tactic on you. I redacted all the good shit. Okay? So I want you to look at that. There we go.
Slide it over
so they can see it. Now, what I want you to pay attention to is that's a 100-yard 5-shot group.
Right there, guys. Yeah, right there. That's five rounds in that hole right there, guys. And this is not a picture. That is the actual target that Steve shot at 100 meters. So we're going to get deeper into this stuff next week.
What I want you to pay attention to is the bottom of the target. Remember, I always say record all your data. You look at the standard deviation was 3.6.
3.6 feet per second. That's crazy.
That's a standard deviation. Extreme spread is 8.2 feet per second for 5 rounds.
Nice.
Guys, think about that. That is the sweet spot. The barrel length, I redacted that because I didn't want you guys to get into the barrel length. And remember, we went through numerous barrel lengths from 22, 20, 18, down to 16 and a half for the Mod H. I wonder what the H stands for. Shame on you. And then down to all the way down to 12 and a half. But you guys that reload, you will understand what it means by standard deviation of 3.6 for 5 shots. Extreme spread and velocity of 8.2 feet per second for 5 rounds.
Hey guys, I want to give a shout out to, again, a big thank you to this week's sponsor. Matter of fact, don't forget, guys, if you go to Bucked Up, right here, buckedup.com, you can get your 6 buckshots for free. You just got to pay shipping and handling. Again, their pre-workout stuff. And they've got energy drinks and everything if you want to buy cases of it. A lot of people don't go to the store anymore, Steve. They get everything delivered from Amazon, which is cool.
I got your birthday wallet delivered from Amazon.
See that? Yeah. All right, thank you, Steve, for that.
Tony Stark.
Thank you, all you guys out there. Thank you. You understand, we still got 170 people here hanging out. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. And Steve's going to show you guys a couple pictures. This is what we're going to go over next week. All right? He's got all kinds of great stuff. A bunch of great stuff. We're going to cover it next Tuesday. You guys all come back here. It's going to be awesome to the third power. That's awesome times awesome.
And a shout out to all you guys that are tuning in. Mike, Nosler, appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
Frank down in Clearwater setting us up for St. Pete with the concert on 29 August and the Tactical Rifleman show in St. Pete for 29 August. Shout out to you, Frank. Appreciate you, brother. All you guys down in Brother Georgia, Glenn County. What's going on? We're going to make it happen.
Going to be awesome indeed. All right, guys. I wanted to talk about. I got some new Kraken knives in. I got a whole bunch of stuff. But we had good questions tonight. We had good questions. I gotta wait. No, I gotta wait. Which means, and you, Steve had to wait, so I gotta wait. Man, I was gonna tell you guys all about classes I got coming up in September. If you guys are interested in training, September I got a bunch of great classes. Not just me. The Tactical Rifleman instructor staff. You can check them out at tacticalrifleman.com. Totally badass. Parting words of wisdom from
the path of the righteous man.
Yeah, you already said
and
that,
woman.
Steve.
And woman.
And woman.
It is set on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish.
If you look at
selfish
English.
Beware of the UFO conspiracy. The UFO conspiracy is coming at us next year prior to the election. I'm telling you, just like the pandemic, just like Wuhan had nothing to do with the virus. Okay, the UFO little trickery is coming at us.
Green man.
Absolutely.
Well, look at me and Steve. We're both green.
Blessed is he who, in the name of charity and goodwill,
there we go. That's what I
shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness. For he or she is truly his brothers and sisters' keeper and the finder of lost children. Let me see your wallet. Where's your wallet? Right over there.
My wallet.
And I will strike down on you. It's your wallet. You hold it up. I will strike down on you with great vengeance and furious anger. Those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers and sisters.
Try to guess Steve's favorite movie. Try to guess.
You would know his name is the Lord.
Try to guess Steve's favorite movie.
His vengeance down upon you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. And his UFO theory.
Had a great live stream.
UFOs are coming next year.
Y'all take care and shoot straight.
Incoming right there.